Happy Sunday afternoon, everybody. Looks like I lost a day somewhere. It's time for Awaken Sunday Live Q&A. Dealing with the Dark Night of Ego continues. A recap of our trials during the Dark Night. Today is not Saturday. It is actually Sunday, February 3rd. It's 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And my name is Garhen. And of course, I have my lovely wife, Kelly, off screen over here as well. So a really good discussion today. We're going to be talking about what we've learned up to date. We have been doing this since our official launch date of February 1st last year. So, Awaken the World is a year old. Happy birthday to us. And, I do want to say right up front that I am so grateful to all the members of our Awaken the World group and our Awaken the World page and all our YouTube subscribers who we really enjoy interacting with. We enjoy serving you. We enjoy providing food for thought, food for growth, and food for the less material aspects of ourselves that we have to deal with. So what have we learned? This is really a recap, and we're going to cover off of a bunch of things today, and the first one comes directly from one of our group members, and that was regarding opinions. And this is one of the biggest things that we have to understand, that our opinions, in other words, what I choose to think about what I'm thinking about, give the basis for our perception of our existence. This is one of the beautiful things that, and I don't want to go too deep into it right now, but this is one of the beautiful things that meditation helps us with. And when it comes to our mind, it literally is all within our mind. All of it. All of it is occurring within the mind. Everything. That is why in the silence, in that stillness, there isn't anything wrong. So where do our opinions come from? Well, our opinions are programmed. Totally programmed. Your opinions are based upon how you've been raised, the environment you've been raised on, what you've been raised to believe or not believe, what you found out to date, what you haven't found out to date, the experiences you've had up to now, the experiences you have yet to have. Wherever you are in your opinions about life and yourself and your existence, those thoughts about your thoughts are programmed. Jennifer is here. Hello, Jennifer. So nice to see you. So we're just talking about what have we learned. And one of the first things that we have to deal with, of course, is these opinions that we have. And opinions are simply defined as the way we choose to think about what we're thinking. So, in example, I woke up this morning and it was a little bit of a rough sleep for me again last night. 2 or 3 times I woke up with my leg in a lot of pain in the middle of the night. My opinion of it, of course, is that this shouldn't be happening. I should be able to sleep soundly throughout the night. Why is my leg bothering me? I don't want my leg to be bothering me. All these thoughts start to flow through when you wake up in the middle of the night, and it's the pain in your leg that's woken you up. And this is what's been happening to me for the last couple nights. It's been ongoing for 2 or 3 weeks. I've got some sort of a tendon or nerve pull in my left leg, and it's causing a lot of grief. I went for a walk yesterday, and it was a really painful experience. Kelly asked me, did I enjoy my walk? And I said, yes, I did. Because even though my mind has an opinion about what's going on with me, i.e. the pain in my leg, there is a larger part of myself, a more expansive part of myself that's able to look past that pain and focus on the beauty of nature in our walk yesterday. The just starting to cool air. You know, we've been fortunate. It's been above zero here for about 2 weeks, and we're now just sinking into that polar vortex. And we've got a week of really cold temperatures coming. Starting this morning, it was minus 12 centigrade. And, you know, last year that was average for us. This year, this is the first time we've seen this temperature. The point is that it's our opinions, what we think about what we think, that determines our perceptions of reality. Now, those thought processes happen outside of our control, vastly outside of our control. Rarely do we have any control over what's going on in the mind. So it's quite natural that this prior conditioning, our prior programming, because the mind is all about what's become before. The mind isn't about what's new, the mind is about what's old. Whenever it runs into a situation, it's always looking back, because it is a comparative machine. It is looking back to compare the current event to something that has happened before. And it does so that it knows how to react to that event. Now, this is a perfectly normal survival-based instinct, i.e., 7, 8, 10, 12, 15, 20,000 years ago, you're running around in your little loincloth and you spy a tiger. And it's the first time you've ever seen a tiger. And that tiger chases you and you barely get away with your life. Maybe you get a nice long scratch down the side of your back. The mind is designed, the next time you see a tiger, it's going to bring up everything about that first experience with the tiger, and you're going to be afraid of tigers, and you're going to do the prudent thing, and you're going to stay away from the tiger. That is the survival instinct of the mind. This is what the mind does. It looks at what's happened before, and it uses that to draw conclusions about what's happening right now. The problem is when you become unaware of it, you are unaware that you have stepped out of the present moment and stepped back into the past. You've literally stepped back into that old experience again. And if that old experience was with someone that you struggle with, you will cease to see the person you are dealing with today as the person they are, and you will instead overlay on them all the things that you feel about the other person. And again, this doesn't happen consciously. It is an unconscious process of the mind, and you have to be highly aware to recognize it's happening. You know, a case in point, we have a very dear friend who struggles with somebody at her office. And she is unaware that the person in her office is a living, in-her-face representative of someone else she struggles with. And those past struggles are being placed upon the current image. And of course, the struggles continue. Becoming aware of our opinions, allowing ourselves to see the opinion forming, to see the thoughts forming about what we're thinking about, and to choose not to buy into them. I say this to everyone when you're first starting out. What you can do is you can choose to withhold your opinion. So let's say that you would normally have a whole stream of thoughts, a whole negative thought stream about an experience. You know, you have a person who is always coming down on you. They're always making you feel like you're less, that you're not good enough. You can choose to see those thoughts coming by, to see those opinions coming by of what you're thinking about, and to just allow them to go by. Allow them to continue on. You see, all these thought processes, you would like to believe that you're initiating these thoughts in some ways, But to be honest, you're not. There are very few thoughts that you consciously initiate that last for any length of time. Your mind is like a giant bubbling cauldron of experience. And the bubbles from this experience, the vapors from this past experience, rise into the present moment and can color your view of the present moment. Indeed, it is almost a sort of sickness that we stay so past-oriented. Speaking of the past, this is a really big thing. Everything that you see around you today in physical form that man has created is a remnant. It belongs to the past. You know, when Kelly and I first moved into this condo, when I met Kelly, she was still living in the house over on Patterson Street. And we sold that house and we moved into a much smaller place. It's still quite large, actually. It's about 2,200 square feet on 3 floors. We moved into this condo, and the condo was a disaster. The dog that her renters had literally gone right through the laminate and had started to dig through the subfloor. There was urine, dog urine all over the stairs, and in that bedroom the dog had been kept for 12 hours at a time. Scratch marks down the walls 6 feet high where this tiny dog was trapped in this room. The whole house smelled of dog urine, and there was this sad negative energy in the space. Kelly broke out in tears the day we moved in. For about the first 2 weeks, she talked about wanting to burn the place down. It's true. And this is what I said to her. I said, honey, what you're seeing here in front of us, what you're seeing in our new home, is a remnant. It's the leftover manifestation of all the past thoughts, words, and deeds that were done in relation to this place. Wait. Don't focus on what you see in front of you. Don't focus on the remnant. I said, sweetheart, instead, focus on the new thoughts, the new words, the new actions that you want to bring into the space. And I promised her on that day 4 years ago that one day she would look around this place and she would be in love with it. Well, that day came and went. The point is this. We live in a world of remnants. Everything we see that's happening right now is a leftover. It is the physical manifestation of all the conscious attention that occurred before. Whatever we place our consciousness on grows and appears and stays. Whatever we take our consciousness away from fades, shrinks, and finally disappears. So living in this world of remnants, what does that mean? How do we apply this at a conscious awakening level? How do we apply this at a spiritual level to our lives? We understand that to fight up against what is right now in front of us is to keep it living. You're feeding it more energy. It's already on the way out. If it exists in physicality, and that doesn't matter whether it's an idea in a culture or a building or a car or a concept in religion, any of those things, if it already exists, it's already old news. There's already new thought, new words, new deeds that are occurring. Do not fight up against remnants. Do not lend those things in your life which are already manifest that you wish to see unmanifest. Do not lend them your attention. What you focus on, you get. If you choose to focus on those things which cause you to feel negativity, to those things which cause you to experience sadness and pain, you're going to find your life full of negativity, sadness, and pain. How do we balance this out, though? Because, of course, we do live in a world of remnants, and a lot of those remnants are pretty terrible, i.e. the way we treat immigrants coming across our borders. There was a really great little video I posted a couple of weeks ago. It was a guy down in the States, and he was explaining that how during the Vietnam War, one of the most horrifying wars that we ever made the mistake of becoming involved in, even on the worst, most horrific day of battle, one of the most iconic pictures that came out of the Vietnam War, there are Marines handing a water flask to a member of the enemy. Hello, Kim. Nice to see you. In this video, it showed border agents kicking over and emptying out water that was left to help people make the journey. And he pointed out that the people who we would need to be afraid of are strong and healthy and don't need the water. The people who need the water are the young and the old and the sick. How do we fight up against this without pushing up against what is? You stand for what you wish to see manifest. It may not be here yet, but if you lend what you wish to see your energy, if you lend your positivity and your conscious power to that which you wish to see manifest, not that which you wish to see disappearing, you can help change the world we live in. Hate delivered to haters does not make for love. Trying to break down a wall only means building a stronger wall. These are lessons we never seem to learn. The way to combat a wall between two people is to become a doorway. Become the opening, not the barrier, and don't fight against that barrier, because the more you push against that barrier, the more you shore that barrier up, and the more you keep it in existence. Stand for those things, and I tell you, you will have a better quality of life for this. Not only will you serve more, and don't get me wrong, there are lots of people speaking out, but to speak out against ends up, unfortunately, dropping us into that same category. There's far more negativity on this planet than we need. I would encourage you to start speaking out for. Speak out for the good in people. Speak out for the unity of us as one people under one creative sea of consciousness that is manifesting all of us at the same time. We all create lots of feelings about these sort of things, and we really want to differentiate, and we've talked about this before, and this is why we're having a recap today. I really want to make it clear to you what the difference is between the feelings you experience and your emotions. Your feelings are born out of your mind. They are the product of thought. I.e., if you think loving thoughts towards someone, you're going to feel good. You're going to feel that love. If your thoughts are rooted in positivity and in gratitude and thankfulness, not only for those things, as we talked about just a few days ago, that we like and would judge as good, but also for those things which we know in our lack of vision that we are judging incorrectly. That gratitude, those thoughts of gratitude, the body reacts to the mind. You see, the body is this amazing energetic field that exists in perfect alignment with the higher truth of your being at all times. The body intelligence is actually much more intelligent than our egoic sense of selves, our mind-driven intelligence. If you could picture the sheer number of processes, not only the obvious ones like inflating and deflating the lungs, the heart beating, but if you could become consciously aware of the total number of processes going on in your body right now in this energetic field we would call our body, you would have no hope to balance or manage or control any of those processes. And yet the higher intelligence that the body is, from the day we come into this world, manages every aspect of this vessel that we travel around in while we're here. As I said, our body lives in a state of total truth with the higher truth of our existence. It lives in perfect alignment with that. Therefore, when you think thoughts that are in alignment with the truth of who you are and the truth of your existence, of our existence, you're going to feel good. You're going to feel uplifted. You're going to feel fulfilled. You're going to feel whole. And your body is going to tell you, it's going to say to you, yes, keep thinking this way. Notice how good I'm letting you know it feels to be in alignment with your higher self, to be in alignment with the truth of your existence. In the same way, when we allow our thoughts to reflect the falseness, the illusion of our existence, when we fall into depression, anger, sadness, fear, guilt, these are all driven by the mind. And the body will react. It has a beautiful built-in alarm system, and we call that alarm feelings. Positive thoughts equate to positive feelings within the body. Those positive feelings within the body help to set up this positive energetic field in which the body is operating, and the body benefits. Not only does the body benefit, but the body turns around and benefits your state of being as well, through releasing certain chemicals into your brain like dopamine, the pleasure chemical. But allow your thoughts to go off track. And it's okay. It happens all the time. That's why the body is here. When Kelly starts to think thoughts about missing her children and all the things that should not have happened or should have been different, those thoughts cause her to start feeling bad. The body is sending out an alarm. It's saying, wait a minute. You're not seeing the whole picture. You're not seeing the greater perfection in what is happening right now or in what has happened. And your body alerts you to this by making you feel yucky. The only thing you're supposed to do with these thoughts is recognize them long enough to understand that it's your thinking that's doing it, and allow that reminder to set you on the path to consciously changing your thoughts. You know, part of the spiritual issue these days, okay, is that we would tend to try and separate thoughts from spirituality. The egoic sense of self, which is nothing more than your false identification with I and the voice in your head, is always looking for those things that will reinforce its individuality, because the mind thinks that it has to surround and protect itself. The identity must be maintained at all costs. Letting go of this, recognizing that your body is communicating with you. Paying attention to those feelings as a guidance system to show you where your thinking has gone awry. This is part of the inner guru that you have. As a matter of fact, many times I will think of it as the inner guru. And I will catch my body and I will say, thank you. Thank you for reminding me that my thought processes are heading down a path I don't want them to be on right now. Emotion, on the other hand, is exactly that. It's the energy of your higher self in motion. It arises from within you. Empathy, compassion, an overwhelming feeling of love. Pure, unfettered joy. These are emotional states, energy in motion. They arise from within, not from the mind, but from that higher place of the observer. And they fill your entire being, and you find yourself taking action. You find yourself in motion before the thought process can begin to catch up. And it's a little bit of a trick. You have to be aware of what's going on within the head. You will find that emotions rise spontaneously. And then you begin to think about what's happening. But you're already in action. The emotion's already occurring. You know, a long time ago, Kelly asked me, how do I determine who to help and who not to help? And I said to her, well, it's very simple. Whenever it's easy, whenever it flows from within without thought, whenever it appears and feels just to be the most natural thing in the world to be doing, those are the people you are meant to help. Those are the people you are meant to serve and be served by in return. This guidance system will guide you on your path perhaps better than any book, any spiritual teacher will ever do for you. Because your body always exists in that state of total truth with your existence. It is indeed a gift we've been given to help keep ourselves in alignment with the higher truth of our existence, of our being. Excuse me. And desires. And of course, you know, we've struggled a bit with desires because, you know, while I desire to help people. Now, let's just look at that one desire. I desire to help people. You see, desires arise from the mind. And not all desires are bad desires. As a matter of fact, they're simply desires. But every desire is going to have its own cause and effect. So, for example, I desire to help other people. When I dig deeply, what I'm really trying to say is, I desire what it will do for me by helping other people. So it is not really the desiring to help. What I really desire is that feeling, that state of fulfillment, that state of completeness and wholeness, and through serving another. Most of our desires are actually desires for a way we want to feel. You know, you ask someone why they want a new car, and if you press them about it, and if they're honest, you're going to find out that the reason they want a new car is the feeling that it's going to give them driving around in it. And that feeling is imaginary. You can produce that same feeling without the car. And yet for some reason we feel we need the car to produce the feeling. So we go ahead and we go out and we buy that $50,000 car. But as we talked about, if we live in a 3D dualistic universe, which we do, your desires have to include both sides of the coin, because the coin is never split. And I find this with concepts like gratitude too. We want to look at the light side of the coin when it comes to gratitude and our desires. We're grateful for the things we see as good. We desire those things which we see are going to somehow enrich us or make us feel a certain way. And yet what happens ultimately? We've forgotten that in order to take the yin, you have to take the yang, because the two are interlocked within the circle. And both aren't just of themselves. They need a little piece of the other in order to be yin. And in order to be yang. The same is true with our desires. Watch your desires very closely. Your desires will change all the time. You know, Enigma has a great line, and their song is called The Gravity of Love. And in that song, it says, don't believe in everything you feel. It's just a question of the day. That's because our thoughts are vastly out of our control, and they're spinning and spinning and spinning to the tune of roughly 80,000 of them a day. 60,000+ of those thoughts are absolute repetitive garbage. You can chuck them right out. And of all those other thoughts, a large portion of those have to do with what we think we desire. Some point in the future where we will finally be happy, we will finally find oneness, we will finally feel complete, we will finally feel like we matter, always off at some future point. The desires of the mind can be realized without the desire, because it is a product of the way you are thinking. Most desires are born out of an inherent lie that you've been programmed with, that you are not enough somehow, that you can never be enough, that you are somehow less. And that doesn't matter whether you're male or female, or whether you've come from religion or have never experienced religion. Deep within you, society and your programming to date has brought you into the idea that you are not whole as you stand. I have a secret. You were whole, complete, and loaded with everything you needed to make this journey in this physical realm on the day you were born. There is nothing that needs to be added to you. And there is nothing that can be taken away from you in this physical world. You are not your experiences. You are not what you desire in life. The mind is a powerful hard drive and artificially intelligent computer. And we have so much bought into the mind that we believe that that is the all of it, and that we are that. We are that which looks out from behind our eyes into the world. And in truth, we are that which looks out from behind the eyes. We are also that which experiences everything of all the senses. And we are that which experiences what is beyond the physical. You know, the biggest, or maybe the best way to put it, is the tip of the iceberg analogy, okay? Your conscious mind is that which is sticking up out of the water. And it represents just the tiniest little fraction of the immensity of what you are and the depth of your being and the depth of your existence. And throughout eternity, different little chunks of you have stuck up out of the water and manifested different egoic beings. But you're all from the same iceberg. You are that immensity that exists hidden just below the surface. It is only when we keep our view focused on top of the water and everything we see from this mental standpoint that we begin to feel small and not enough and lost and alone. I sit here before you today, because I'm in a chair, to let you know that you're never lost. You're never alone. You know, if you were to go up into the Arctic and to look below all of those different icebergs and pieces of ice, there is a slurry of ice water connecting them all. You are but a drop in that sea of consciousness. Indivisible. And yet within the drop, you hold your own unique flavor of creation itself, your own unique viewpoint, your own unique lens upon which God itself gazes out upon itself. How do we choose to act in our lives when we've truly internalized this truth? You know, there was a comment on a post the other day. It was on the Lightworkers group. And it was involving, well, what do you say to someone who's been raped? You know, how can you look at that rape and see that rape as a good thing? And I'm not saying to try and see it as a good thing. That's what I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is there is a perfection there. There is a sacrifice, and there is a wanting to show us all what we do not wish, what we do not want to perpetrate, what we no longer want to create. And rather than getting tied up in condemning and damning the rapist, we have to be willing to see that God lives there too. I'm not saying this is easy, okay? But we have to extend this. We have to take it right to the logical conclusion, okay? If you are a child murderer, the same shard of God lives in you that lives in me. That murderer is no less worthy or more worthy of the love of the Creator. The love of the Creator has not been taken away because of that person's actions. It is us who take our love away. It is us who take our approval away from others who do not behave in the way we wish. Can you imagine if the God of the Old Testament was really the God of creation? Can you imagine the state we would live in? Always running around, scurrying from rock to rock with our heads down, making sure we've sacrificed just the right amount and making sure that we've done exactly what we're supposed to. Why? Because if you don't, you're going to be damned. And the God that proclaimed to love you and the God that proclaimed you as a child of its creation gives up on you for what you have done. And now you're doomed to hell. You know, that is no God that I know. But it certainly sounds like humanity. It certainly sounds like, and listen, I am guilty of it too, okay? I cannot sit here and say that I am not guilty of it. When it comes to Kelly's ex, 4 years later, I'm just at the point now where I have no emotions on it. No feelings created by my thoughts, to be precise, okay? They're not emotions. No feelings on it anymore. I'm not creating any more thoughts about that person. But you know what? The same shard of the divine, the same wholeness, the same oneness that I feel within myself is in him too. And it was in Hitler. And it was in Gandhi. And it's in Donald Trump. And it's in the Saudi royal leadership. It's in the homeless person. And it's in the rich person who denies the homeless person anything. What does that really mean? What can we take away from this today? What is it that we need to hold on to learn, to absorb? God is everywhere. Not just in those that would call themselves the righteous. Not just in those we would view and say, well, there's a good person. God is in the dog, the cat, the tree, the flower, the neighbor who you're struggling with, the man who rapes a young child, the soldier who kills another on a field. I'm not saying it's easy having these conversations sometime. Because the one thing that I have come to learn about myself over time is that the deeper I slide into that state of oneness, the easier I find that state, the more painful it becomes to watch what we are willing to do to each other. The hardest lesson, the biggest thing that you can take home from today is what I just said. God is in each of us. That means that it's God who's beating up the prisoner in the cell. It's God who rapes itself. There is a level of love here that, quite frankly, for most is going to be beyond comprehension at this point. And this is the deepest secret of our existence. We are loved so much, so purely, so powerfully, that our suffering is only a perception. Even in this physical world, no matter what you've gone through, and listen, I've been there, okay? I've broken half the bones in my body twice. I've been shot. I've been stabbed and cut wide open from my groin right up to my chest. Never mind all the psychological and other things that I could look back at and say caused suffering in my life. The wondrous truth of it is that that sea of consciousness takes it all. All of it. And, you know, I've been quite fortunate. I've died twice now. I've been dead twice for 8 minutes and 11 minutes, respectively. You cannot know yet, but you will. One day, your apparent existence here will come to a close, and it's really no big deal. No more than from one thought to the next. And you're going to realize that you're still there. You're still whole. You're still complete. You haven't been harmed. You're perfectly okay. And the adventure is over for now. Carry this with you today. And again, I do apologize. I feel so deeply. Within the person you hate the most is the largest presence of God in your life. It doesn't have to be hate. Within the people whom you struggle with the most, there is the largest presence of God in your life. It's amazing. It really is. Truly. That's really all I got today. I've pushed myself a little bit past an edge. And I'm sort of teetering in that space between Garhen existing and no Garhen existing right now. truly, we are all family. The way we treat each other in our families today is maybe not the best indication of what it means to be family. We are all children of that one Creator. The Creator is in each of us at all times. Much love to you. Namaste. Have a wonderful, wonderful Sunday afternoon. We will see you tonight as we continue our 28 days to a new consciousness. And of course, that is on the Awaken the World page. And we will continue with our journeys and our talks and our meditations together. We look forward to the next time we meet. Take care.